Okay, so this is what we had discussed till the last class, where we checked how to append rows to a collection, and we implemented the work queue feature here, and we were appending the rows to the collection, which is the output collection here. Where is the output collection?
And Prem, you shared this process on.
Yes, I have shared. I have shared this in Google Drive. So you can just import it and you can start working. So there is one object only, same for both, and there are two process. One is for this work queue part, and the other is without work queue. So that if you want to run it, okay?
Okay, no problems. I'll download it today.
Yeah. Okay. Add rows to collection. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's run this process once so that we'll be able to understand where exactly we were. So let me check the name of the queue that we are using. This is June queue, that is fine. So, hi Supriya, you just joined?
Joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so let's run this once, and let's see till what point we had like implemented the work queue, and then we'll continue. Okay, so here we are adding everything to the work queue, and we are getting all the next item, processing that, and then processing that here in this page, convert to INR page here, and then what we are doing is we are appending the output to the output collection here, and we are writing finally the output collection to the Excel sheet, right? So let's run this. Let me remove this breakpoint and let's run. Oh, we got an exception, it seems. Okay, we are also the exception is still there. WQ 911 enter input value and also right amount field not found. So let's remove this exception as well, because we are not going to deal with exception anymore. So I'll just go to the Object Studio, and manually we had introduced one exception. So I'll just remove that from the application modular by going to the, okay, we already have removed the exception. I'm not sure why we're getting, one second. Okay, So it's working fine. I'm not sure, what happened first time. This some automation anywhere. Like I had installed automation anywhere, so that is also some interfering with this automation. So something like that. I'll just disable it after this. Okay. So this is working fine. We'll see the result in the work queue at the end of this, so that we can figure out, till what point we had configured a work queue, and after that we'll just take the work queue forward. So we'll implement, a lot of other features using work queue, because this is the most important concept in Blue Prism. So if you are going for an interview or the certification exam, you will get like a lot of question from work queue. Okay. So how many like this is there? It is still going on. Okay, so it's completed, and now we'll go to the work queue. Before that, okay, so let's go to the work queue and check what is the situation of our June queue that we have implemented. Here we have you can see all the that rows that are processed. All of them are in the uh, you know log state, even though they have completed, as you can see, it is it worked fine, it executed fine, but still all of the item or most of the item are in log state. Why? Because these are completed, this should be in completed state. There is something called completed, so this should be in completed, but these are not at completed and it is at log state. The reason is Blue Prism does not know by itself if it is completed or not. So we have to manually set this as either as completed or as exception. So we have to do that part for Blue Prism. So if it is completed, we have to manually set it as completed, and if it is an exception, we have to manually set it as exception. Okay. So let's do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. So I cannot delete the locked one. So what I have to do is I have to unlock it, then mark this as exception. I'm just marking this as exception and just to delete it. Okay. And then delete it. Now my work queue is completely empty. And let's see what is the status of my Excel sheet. Let me delete this Excel sheet. They are unnecessarily generated. Okay, so sometimes what happens is, I'm not sure if you guys have faced it yet, but you may face it later. If you have like, 7 to 8 rows and you are deleting few rows, what Blue Prism does is there is some, cache in Excel sheet, I guess. It will start taking the empty row, whatever you have deleted, right? It will, consider, it will consider those as rows as well. So make sure if you don't face those kinds of problems. If you are facing such problems, then the alternative is to take this sheet, all this data, create a new sheet and delete this one and start using that. So let's say, hopefully we won't face such situation. I just deleted few rows from here, but sometimes it had happened that Blue Prism still thinks that these rows are there. Okay, not sure how it happens, but it does sometimes. Okay, but here we have only 4 rows and we are going to execute for this. So what I'm going to do is we are going to implement, there is no change here. So we are going to implement mark as completed and mark as exception here. So what we'll do is that till now Blue Prism is keeping everything in the log state. So we need to tell Blue Prism that something has completed. Okay, like that. So what I will do, after appending the rows to the collection, which is appending to the output collection, if it is successful, then we'll mark that as successful. So what I will do is after append rows to collection, what I will do is I should do this actually after converting to INR. Let's do this. So what I'm doing this after converting to INR, this page is getting called. This is this page. In this page, hey, Arun, can you please go in mute? There is some slight echo. So I have put you in mute, okay? So whenever you have any question, then you can ask me. So in this page, we are converting the result, and what I will do is that after the result is converted, I will mark that particular queue as completed. So what I will do, I'll just drag and drop an action stage here, double click, select work queue, and there is something called mark completed. Okay, in the mark completed, I will just drag and drop the item ID that we had created before. Okay, this is something we have created before, I guess, in the get next item here. Okay, in the get next item in the output, we have created the item ID. Same item ID, it is asking for us to be entered here, so I'm just entering here. So mark as completed. Now let's join everything the same way. And let's run this now. So this concept, work queue concept, is the most, I would say, the difficult concept in Blue Prism. So, you may face a little bit of difficulty understanding this compared to other, concepts that we have discussed. Those are very straightforward, but the work queue part is a little tricky. So just be careful and do some practice or go through these videos one. If you're not able to understand anything, let me know. I guess this is still picking the empty rows. Right. Okay, so what I believe is that what it is doing is that it is still picking the empty rows. Okay, that I told you, right? In the Excel sheet, sometimes it picks the empty row, and because it is trying to write the empty row as a amount field, and in the from currency field it is giving some error, fail to translate data, unable to cast value to a number. Because it is empty, it could not convert it to a empty data set. Okay, that is the reason, I believe. But anyway, like, we don't need to worry that this is not the issue we should be discussing now. Let's go to the work queue and we'll fix this after this. Let's go to the work queue, June queue. As you can see here, now these things are marked as completed, and here you see there are 7 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why? Because as I said previously, there are few empty rows, and Blue Prism is picking up empty rows also. Okay, that is the reason. But the 4 that we have processed, 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 our data, those are marked as completed. You see here this tick button, previously everything was in log state, but these things are marked as completed now. Okay, so this is what we'll be doing, mark as completed. And also if everything works fine, and if something executes fine, then we are going to mark that as completed. Any doubts here, guys? Any doubts? How we are doing this mark as completed and why we are doing this? Let me know. You're fine with this? Okay. So let me delete this. And let me remove everything. Let me delete, let me just remove this data so that we can run it again. So if I'm going fast or you're not able to understand anything, let me know, okay? And what I'm going to do is, it is still picking up few of the so what we'll do, we'll just take this data and move it to a new sheet. That's it. Delete this one and rename it to sheet 1. This one I just did because Blue Prism was taking somehow the empty rows as data, and it was trying to convert this as amount field. So we are getting some error at the end. We were successful in converting this, but still we were getting some error when it was trying to fetch this empty row, which was very obvious. Okay, so close this and let's go back to here. And so that's fine. We are not going to run it again. In the next phase, we are going to run it again after implementing something else. So first thing is that we are successful in doing mark as completed. So what we are doing is, we are in this part we are putting everything into the Excel sheet. Here we are launching the website. Here we are adding everything to the queue. So all the data from the Excel sheet are going and getting added to the queue. So 4 items got added to the queue. Okay, and then we are picking one at a time. Get next item. We are picking one at a time. So the first one got picked. It checked item ID is empty or not. Because it has some item, it is not empty. So it will go this path. It is converting to INR, marking that as completed, and then appending rows to collection. Okay, so let's see this so what we'll do is that we'll see this one by one, as we'll debug this so that you can understand. And another thing we are going to introduce now is something called mark as exception. So what we are doing here is, we are marking something as completed, right? But there is also a scenario. So for example, let me put a breakpoint here, breakpoint, reset and run this. Okay, breakpoint reached. So add to the queue, get next item. So let's go to the queue now. June queue. Everything added to the queue. 4 items is added to the queue. So from Excel sheet, correct data is getting picked up, but everything is in pending state because we have not. Blue Prism has not executed everything. Everything is in pending state. So what we'll do is that we'll step over. Then item ID, we got the first row. So Blue Prism picked up the first row. Then step over. Then it is going to convert to INR. Step over. So it went to this page, convert to INR page, and then mark as completed. So let's go to here. See, it is locked state. So Blue Prism is executing the first one, right? Blue Prism is executing the first one. When mark as completed will be processed, this will become as a tick mark that this is completed. So let's execute this one. Step over. So now let's refresh it. Refresh. As you can see, mark as completed. The first one got completed. Okay. Now step over. Get next item. Then step over. So Blue Prism has picked up the second item for processing, which is the next item. The refresh, locked. The second item is locked. Like that, it will, after processing, it will mark that as completed, and the same way it will happen. Okay. But the thing is, let's do one thing. This is fine that when we are successful, it is marking as completed. But what if we get an exception? What will happen if we get an exception? Let's see. So what I will do is that before going to the currency converter page where it is converting everything, entering amount, from value, to value, and it is converting everything in the page, in this page, what I will do is that I'll just go to some other page, okay, so that Blue Prism gives us some error. So for example, let's go here. mid-market rate. Here in this space, those fields are not present. The from currency, the amount, the to currency, the result, nothing is present here. So when I try to, execute this page now, convert to INR, these will throw an exception because the enter amount, enter from value, Blue Prism will not be able to find any field where it can enter this value. So let's do that. So step over again, and let's see what it is happening. Okay, it is going to the like exception because we got an exception, so it is going to the exception path. Here, we have provided the exception handling stuff. So if we step over and step over again, it is going there. Okay, and if we go and check the exception message, we are getting some exception here. But the thing is, we don't want that. Okay, I guess Mahesh was asking this before, but he's not present, I guess, in the class. What he was asking is, so what he was asking is, if we have 100 Excel sheet and out of those 100 Excel sheet, if few Excel sheet in between given some error, we should not stop. Here what is happening, the second data is giving some exception, the second row in the Excel sheet. So due to that second row, we are not able to execute the third and fourth row as well. But that should not happen. What should happen is, for the second row only, we should get an exception and we should write in the output that no item found, or keep it as blank, and we should again continue to execute from the third row of the Excel sheet. That is something we are going to do. Okay, that is the correct implementation. But we won't be able to do that if we have a page level exception handling here, because this will capture all the exception, right? We won't be able to do that. So what we'll do is that in the work queue only, we are going to handle the exception and we are going to mark them as exception, only that particular row, and we are going to continue from there. Okay, so let's implement that one, mark as exception. So I'm just going to close this. Just 1 minute. Okay, and then what I will do is that okay, so we are going to set up a recover state because we are going to catch the exception. So what is happening now? All the exceptions are going to this page. Okay, this path, this page level exception. We don't want that. We will set up a recover state here, and then a resume here, and a calculation stage here, just like this one. We are going to do the same one, but this will only catch exception generating from this page only. Okay, nowhere else. So how to make sure that if it catches exception from this page only? By drawing a block stage. This is something we have already talked about, right? Let's draw a block stage here. It means that Blue Prism is going to catch exception. This recover to will catch exception only from this convert to INR page. And then we are going to connect this. And here we are going to, we already have the exception handling in place. So either we can use that. So what I will do is that I'll use the same exception function, exception detail, and I'm going to store it in a data item called exception detail. Let's create that. Let's name it as work queue exception detail. Create that and exception. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are going to catch any exception generating from this page while we are running the work queue. Now what I will do is that I will drag and drop a action and double click, select work queue and select mark as exception. So this is something we are going to do now. We had seen how to do mark as completed, but we are going to manually mark them as exception also. Mark as exception, and then item ID. Exception reason we will use the whatever message we will pass the same message, work queue exception detail. This is the message that we are passing, and no need of the new item ID. Okay, so that's it. So we'll talk about retry. So what we'll do is that if some exception is there, we can tell Blue Prism to reattempt to run it again, in case, is there a chance of success. Okay. So retry option we'll check later. For now, let's connect this way, and it should be fine. Okay, so now let's run it. What we are doing now, if everything is fine, then we are taking the mask completed path, and if there is an exception, recover will catch that. It will go this path and it will mark as an exception, and it will again take the next item. So for example, second row is creating some error. That is fine. Mark that as an exception, and pick up the next item, which is the third row, and execute that. This way, we will not stop if some error is there, but we'll just continue from there by marking that particular row only as exception. So I'll just I have to delete this, because otherwise, so what will happen if you have some pending task from previously, it will also be taken by Blue Prism for execution. So you need to remove all the pending task, pending cases before you continue. So let's do this one at a time. Okay, it reached the breakpoint. That is fine. Step over. Step over. Everything should be fine now, and it should take this path, mark as completed path. And so let's go to the queue now once. 4 items added. First item got locked by Blue Prism for processing. It is getting processed. Now let's step over, mark as completed. Refresh this again. First item got completed. You see here, first item got completed. Now Blue Prism will take the second item, step over. Now the second item is locked. Second item is in the lock state, and then before going to the convert to INR, we are going to manually create an exception. So what I'll do, I'll go to some other pages. I'll just navigate manually to other pages so that Blue Prism creates an exception here. Right. Now let's step over. So obviously it will throw an exception now, and it will take this path. Okay. Step over. You got an exception. Step over again. Step over again. Some exception got populated from here because that is something we have configured. Step over again, and then append rows to collection. Get next item. Okay. So now if I go to the work queue and refresh, the item which was locked for processing, that is marked as exception because we have done so. What is the exception? You see, let's go and see the exception reason. WA911 enter input value right amount. This is the exception we have set. You remember, this is something we had discussed before. This is the exception reason that we are setting. Okay, and this got marked as an exception. This is something we are doing manually. Okay, and then same is going to now what we'll do. Let's go back to the previous page so that everything will work fine. Now this page is the perfect page, so Blue Prism should be able to run this fine. So I'll just run this. Now there is no exception because we are at the correct page. Mark as completed, breakpoint reached. Let's go to the work queue and refresh. You can see here the third one got completed. The second was one exception. The fourth one will also be completed if we run it again. Run this again. So everything is entering fine. Clicking the convert, reading the result, and completed. And if we go to the work queue now and refresh it, the third one is also completed. The fourth one is also completed. We got the exception, which was the second one only. Okay, everything is completed. Now, if we step over, do we have an item ID? No. 1 second, guys. So just give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Hello? Yeah, hi, Parminder. Yeah, tell me. Yeah, we have the session. Oh, sorry, I forgot to send you all the details. We have it at 10 o'clock only. Will you be able to attend? Okay. Okay. Hmm. Huh. Huh. Um, so you formatted that? Hmm. So is it? Okay, but it should have a 64-bit operating system. Uh, we need to check that. We need to check the feasibility of if it will be able to support a like a virtual machine and all. It should work. Okay. Yes, we can check that. Okay. Today the class is for 3 hours. Okay. 10 to 1, and from tomorrow it is for 2 hours. So we'll check that. There is a third way also. We can install something in Amazon web server or Google Cloud. I'll let you know about that option. So we'll see. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going to send you this one. I'm going to send you the meeting details. Please join. Okay. Then. So, bye. Give me just 1 minute, guys. So I'm just actually, so there is another batch starting today. So few people have not received one email. So I'm just going to send one email and I'll get back. Okay. So Okay, so everything is completed as you can see here. Okay, so any doubts here, guys? Anything that you want to understand again? Let me know. Are you able to understand this concept, or you need to you are thinking that if you go through this by yourself once you will be able to understand, because this is a little bit complex compared to whatever we have discussed before. Okay, so let me know whatever your plan is, and I'll be able to help you. Okay. Okay, so let's go to the Excel sheet once and see what is the status there. Okay, sorry, we did not write it here again. Okay, we did not write it. We should have written it here, and we could have checked the Excel sheet status. So this is what is happening. Anything that is creating an exception, we are marking that as an exception, and also we are appending rows to the collection, so that in whichever row there is an exception, we are not just stopping the process there because we got an exception in the total workflow, but we are marking that particular row as exception, and we are still appending rows to the collection. So maybe in the output collection we are putting an empty row for the exception one, and for the others one which are successful, which are marked as completed, those are getting values. Okay, after that everything is completed, we are writing to the collection.
Prem, one question. So every time there is an exception, this will block it, correct?
Every time there is an exception, it will take this path.
Okay.
Okay, because this is the exception path. What is happening? Every time there is an exception in this page, convert to INR page, this recover 2 will catch that exception. Why? Because we are keeping this in the block. Otherwise, from anywhere in the page there is an exception, it will be caught by this recover one. But we want here a recover stage. We want this recover to catch all these exceptions, so we are putting them in the block stage. So whatever exception it is throwing, it will catch here. It will go this path, mark that is an exception, and it will append the row to collection. Why? Because even if it is exception, we are going to append it to the collection so that we can write it back to the Excel sheet. So maybe if it is an empty value because it could not perform correctly, but still we are going to write it back to the Excel sheet, empty value.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind of understood. Little doubtful, because you put a block, and how did this one recognized pick up this recover?
So see, this recover is going to take exception as a page level. So even if I put multiple recover here, if I take another recover here and then a resume and something, it is always going to be the first recover that you are using, because in the whole page there can only be one recover. Okay, in the whole page there can only be one recover. So what I want that I want such a structure where if exception is handling, I should be able to mark that as an exception. So if I am doing it here in this recover, I am attaching it to the end state. So I won't be able to do mark as exception here, right? I won't be able to do that. So what I want is, I want a recover state which can capture exception only from this page, and it can also mark as an exception, and it can also take the next item for processing. That is the reason I'm putting a recover stage here, putting a block around it, so that this recover will capture exception only inside this block, nowhere else in this page. So for example, if this is throwing an exception, I will not catch it because my area of operation is this block only. So if convert to INR is throwing an exception, I will catch that. I'll generate the exception message here, store it here, then resume the operation, mark that particular row as exception, and then put everything in the collection, go to the next stage. Go to the next Excel sheet row. In the next row, I'm again going to process. If there is no exception, everything is fine, it will take this path, mark as completed path. If there is another exception, it will take this path, and again it will pick next item. So for this reason, I have put the recover stage here. So this is the scope. The scope of this recover is only to this page only, and only to this workflow. Anywhere else in this workflow some error is happening, this recover will catch that. You got the point? Anything, guys? Anything else if you want to understand? And it is certainly confusing. It was confusing for me for the first time, and so you should go through the exception and the work queue again for practicing, because this is the parts where the Blue Prism, it is a little complex part in Blue Prism, I would say. And again, this is the most important one also. You are going to face most of the questions from here. So this is important. And this is important because this is difficult. Okay. So you need to go through this. So this is what is happening here. I showed you the flow also one by one by doing this, breakpoint that we have taken. So that is the way it is happening. Let me know if you are still facing any doubts. I can walk you through this again. Okay, fine then. So one thing that, okay, let me go to the work queue. Okay, so from here, what is the issue? Everything is fine. We are able to trace that which is completed, which is not completed, and everything. But we don't know that which exact row in Excel sheet is completed and which exact row in Excel sheet is not completed. So from here, we are not getting any information that this row in the work queue corresponds to which row in the Excel sheet. Right? How do you know that this is the second row which got failed? How do you know that this line corresponds to the third line in the Excel sheet or something like that? We do not have any way, because we are not maintaining anything here. So let's do this, because without that it is becoming difficult for us to track what is happening for which row. So this is 4 records, that is fine. If the number of records is maybe 1,000 or 50,000, we will be having serious issue identifying which row in the Excel sheet has some issue. So imagine if we know that this is the second row which got some issue, then, and we can also go back and check to the Excel sheet second row to check if we have some issue there in the first place. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's assign a serial number column here so that we can able to understand which row in the Excel sheet corresponds to which row in the work queue. So for that, what we'll have to do is we need to introduce a new column called serial number. Double click. So obviously you can take any of this column and you can mark that as serial number, because see, you can take this column as use that as serial number, so that if it is USD, you know that this is column 1. If it is GBP, you know that this is second row. This is EUR, you know that this is the third currency. This is the one, the fourth currency. It's very easy to know it from here. But the issue here is that this can be duplicate. Okay, right? So if I can use a USD here also, I can use a USD here. So if I'm taking USD as my second row, then it will be confusing for Blue Prism when it faces another USD here. Okay. So what we need here is a unique column which using which we'll be able to track the serial number, and we can tell which row is which one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a new column here. Insert, call S number. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be using to track which one is which row. How to do that? Let's close this. We have something for that in Blue Prism. So we'll go back. Let me just save it. Close, and we'll go to the System tab. Work queue. June queue, whatever queue you are working on, and the key name. Here we have something called as key name. This is the key that we are going to use for identification of which row is which one. Okay. So I'm going to provide the key name as S number, because this is what we have described in the Excel sheet. Okay, S number, serial number, and click apply. Right. And then let's just check if it is fine. Yeah, serial number is reflecting fine. And then let's go now to the Studio tab. I'm just going to delete everything from here so that we can get the fresh data with the serial number now. And double click and run it. Okay. Okay. Just 1 minute. Access code is 885. Okay, so we'll check the work queue. Let's see what data has been added to the work queue. June queue. As you can see here, everything got added here with a serial number 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, the item key column, previously this item key was empty, and now as you are able to see, this got populated with 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one is coming from whatever we have said before. Okay, this 1, 2, 3, 4, this is coming from the serial number that we have set up as 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so this item key will be the identification as which row is which one, and this one we have set it here. Okay, the key name, sorry, here the key name S number, and that is corresponding to the work queue there, and it is populating that with correctly 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you run it, then it will show which one is executing. So for example, if I run the first iteration, step over, let's run it directly. And we can track which one got locked and everything. Okay, now let's go to the work queue. As you can see here, the first item got picked. The item key with item 1 got picked, and that 4, 3, 2, and the everything else is there to be, again these are in pending state. Okay, so this is the help of this is what we can do in the using the work queue serial number column. So this will be very useful once you configure that to track which column, which row is which one, and you will be able to keep track if someone is failing. If the second row is providing you an exception, then you will be able to check that exception and all. Okay. So this is what it is. Any issue here in understanding? I don't want you to I don't want to go through all of this again and just execute it the pending state. Okay, so you can check this one out. I can put everything in the Google Drive, and you should be fine to do that. I'm marking this as exception and deleting this. Okay, so any doubts here, guys? Any doubts? Please let me know. Anything? You're fine with, right? Or you want to take some time to practice this? Then let me know.
I need to practice, and then probably to ask questions during that period of time.
Okay, fine. Okay then, so that should be fine. Okay, because this is a complex one, as I'm and also this is the you will get most questions from here only. Okay, so you should do this. Okay, Uh, just give me, around 5 minutes. I'll just give me, 4 5 minutes. Will continue from here. Okay. If you want to take a look, have a look at this. So what we are going to do is we have some few other concepts left in WorkQ. So we are going to complete that, and then we will switch to some other concept. Okay, just give me 5 minutes. I just need to send one email, and then we'll continue. Just give me 5 minutes. Jitu, you're in the call?
Yeah, hi, Prem.
Hey, hi, Jitu. Yeah, Jitu, just give me 5 minutes. We'll just resume this. Just give me 5 more minutes.
So, Prem, one last question. So, we'll be learning the region mode also, right?
Sorry?
We'll be learning region mode.
Region mode, yeah. We'll learn all those. So there are a few concepts here. Yeah.
Region
Okay,
mode,
we'll
and
learn.
then what about image? How to identify image and stuff? Will that come in the region mode, or how does that?
Yes, that will come in the region mode. There is a lot of things to do in the OCR and all, but those are very advanced stuff, so we may not go that depth. But we'll see how to get the image, how to get the text out of image, all that we'll see. Okay.
Fine.
So just give me 5 minutes, guys. I am going on mute. I will be back in 5 minutes at around 10 or 10:10. We will just continue. Okay. Hello? You able to hear me? You able to listen to me now? Hello? Oh, I'm not able to. Not sure what happened. Okay, something came up. I'm not sure. Arun, you are able to listen to me? I'm not sure if I'm not able to listen to any of you. So, not sure. Okay, let me just stop this call and rejoin. So, once. Nothing changed, it seems. I'm not able to listen to anyone actually. Jitu, can you just speak something? I just need to test if it is an issue from my side. Okay, shall I rejoin? Hello?
I can hear.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay, okay, nice. I was just expecting one voice, so that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so, so this is what it is, you know, who just joined the meeting? Arun? Okay, maybe. Okay, so the next concept that we are going to discuss is the tag and the filtering one. We are going to discuss that concept, and you know, yeah, hi Arun.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened. Some network interruption. Can you repeat what you were saying just for 1 minute or 2 minutes prior?
Oh, I was not saying anything. I was just testing if it is working, everything is fine or not. I didn't discuss anything. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next concept that we are going to look at is the tagging feature. So this feature that we have discussed is it's a very good feature. Okay, and this is one of the most important features that Blue Prism is known for. So if there is one exception for any row, for example the second row or the third row, then instead of going for an exception in as a whole, we are going for an exception as a row level, as a case level. These are called cases, and we are just leaving those as blank, those particular row as blank, and then we are just continuing with the other rows, right? So if there is an exception in second row, then we are going to continue with the all the rows. So for example, if this value comes to like 545 or something, and this got created an exception, so we won't stop here. What we'll do is that we'll leave this as blank, and and we are again continuing with all the other rows. Okay, this is something what we are doing. So this is one of the very good feature. Even if there is an exception, we are not stopping. What we are doing here is we are marking that particular row only as exception from here, and we are appending the rows to collection. So we are appending the rows to collection. So it means that empty row will be appended, and for the successful one, actual output data will be appended. At the end, that collection that we are appending to, we are writing it here. So for the one that is an exception, it will be an empty value, whereas for the ones there is no exception, it will have a correct value over here. Okay. So this is what it is, and this is the way the exception handling is we are maintaining inside work queue, and we are implementing the work queue. There are few concepts left in the work queue that we are going to talk now. But till this point, any doubts? Or maybe if you can practice, then you can let me know. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can let me know. What we are going to talk next is the tagging feature. How we can assign a tag to each of the row, and based on the tags we can filter them, and we can do a lot of stuff here and there. Okay, so let's discuss the tag feature. Let me check if we need to. Okay, let's talk about the tag feature first. So what we'll do is that we will assign each of these rows one tag. Okay, for example, for this row, okay, we can take currency as a tag. It's not mandatory to take anything as a any single column as a tag. You can take whatever is relevant to you. So let me first tell you what is a tag. So for example, if you have the Instagram or something, okay, and you are uploading different photos. So you are uploading a nature's photo, and you are putting two hashtag as one is nature, and then another tag like hashtag I know mountains or something. And then there is a second one, and it is the maybe a school or something. Then you can put like school and something like that. Okay, tags like this. So this is the same concept that is borrowed from here. So maybe for the third photo there is some ocean, and you are again putting a tag as nature. Okay, right? And out of this three photo, you are filtering by tag, and you are filtering by nature. So when you filter by nature, it should give you the first photo and the third photo, right? So something like this. So here, what is the filter? The name or the concept of the photo is the filter. Okay, so something like that. We need to. This is the tagging, right? This we tag people with in the photo, or we tag with different hashtags or something. So something like that. We are going to implement tag here. So what we are going to do is that so that people can filter based on the tag, right? So here in the work queue, we are going to provide a tag to each of the row. For example, here if we are considering this as a tag USD, and then all this currency are acting as a tag, then when we are filtering by tags, different hashtag you can say. So when I need a tag of USD, it will give me the first and the fourth record, or it will process the one and fourth record. What I want is that just process the records where my tag matches. So if my tag is USD, I want all the USD tag to be processed. It will only process the first and fourth record from the work queue. Okay, so this is the way we are going to implement the tag feature in work queue. So first thing we should do is that before filtering through tag, we should assign each of the row as tag first, and then we are going to implement the tag feature. Okay, the tag filter feature. So in the add to queue stage that we have, there is something called tags here. You see here, there is something called tags. It's optional. A lot of these things are optional apart from this queue name and data. Everything else is optional, priority and all. So optionally, a semicolon separated set of tags to apply the queue. So again, you can separate with multiple tags. You can separate multiple tags, and you can work upon them also. So here, what we'll do is that we'll take this column as a tag. We'll assign each of them as a tag. And if we go to the work queue, I'm not sure if we have something here. So for example, this is one of the okay, so there is this column called tag, and we are going to this was empty till now. Okay, this there was nothing here because we did not assign any column as tag or something like that. There is no tag for any of the rows, so this was empty till now. Okay, so now we are going to assign one tag here, and we are going to use that. So what I will do is that this one, so this is, I would say, the currency from the collection. We are going to assign them as a tag. So in the add to queue, we're taking this currency collection, right? So this particular collection, currency collection, here, whatever row we have. Okay, we won't get it now. So the name of the row is currency.currency. So that row will act as a collection, that as a tag. So what I will do is that here, it is a undefined collection. That is the reason I'm not getting the different column names here. So anyway, currency. So this is the name of the column which will act as a tag for this. So now let's click OK, and here we have the tags we are using at the currency field in the currency collection. Now let's run this and see what is happening. Now I have changed this to also USD so that while filtering we'll get multiple rows for USD. Now let's run this. Okay, now let's go back to the work queue and let's see, as we can see here, the tags row is filled. Now this is also filled, the item key that we have implemented before, and now the tags is also filled with USD. Okay, so we got some value. We got the wrong value, obviously, because everything is USD. What it should be is, one should be USD or whatever we have here, whatever, rows you have here. Let's go back to the currency collection, for example, to see what are there. So, what is that? In the currency collection, we have USD, GBP, EUR, and then USD. But, unfortunately, we are getting everyone as USD. So this is the way, we are going to, assign tags. This is the way we are going to assign tags. The problem why it is coming everything as USD is Blue Prism takes the first tag, the first row tag as the, default tag, because, we are adding everything in a bunch. The whole collection, we are, adding as a bunch here. And when we are saying currency.currency, it means, and, it is taking as a tag, it will always take the first one as a tag because, we are not checking row wise. Okay, there is no way here in this part here in the add to queue, when you are saying currency.currency, which value it will take. It will obviously pick the first value because there is not a row wise comparison that this tag is for this row, this tag is for this row, and something like that. So when you are saying the pick a value from the currency.currency, it will always pick the first value and assign to the tag or whatever you are using it for, right? So we are going to solve this. We are going to assign, like individual tag for, each of the row, whichever is correct. So for example, the first row in the work queue should get a tag of USD. The second one is GBP and so on. Okay. But the problem here is because we are doing everything in a bunch, we are not segregating at a row level, at a low level. This is the, it is taking the first one as a tag. So what we are going to do is, we need to find a way to, okay. So let me check what we can do here. Right. So we can move this part to a separate page, because what is happening is the add to queue, the currency.currency is acting as a whole currency, and we don't have a row level segregation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another page for this add to queue, and that page, what I will do is I will create a single row collection, and in that collection I will have one data at a time. So it will pick that particular row for tag, and for the second row it will have a separate tags for taking up. Okay, it may be a little bit difficult for you to understand, but this is something we have already done before. Okay, so if you have, there was a I would say task assignment that I had provided to you, that few people are married and few people are unmarried, and based on their marital status we need to segregate them into a separate Excel sheet. So something like that we are going to do. This is a concept only for that that collection manipulation. We are only going to manipulate some collections here, so that we can get one row at a time. So for that I'm going to create another page, and let's name it add to queue, because we are going to replace that particular stage with this page now. Okay, I cannot move it back. Now what I will do is that from the currency collection I will like add one row at a time. Okay, so what I mean is that let me create a single row collection first, and you'll be able to understand what exactly I am doing. So drag and drop a collection, and we are going to make it a single row collection. It means that it can only contain one row at any particular point of time. So it cannot contain more than one row. Okay, so add field, let's add the same fields that we have in the currency collection. So we have the serial number field, and what else we have? Okay, I won't be having that here. Okay, it is same as the Excel sheet, so we can pick from the Excel sheet rows also. Serial number, currency, amount, and INR. So serial number, currency, amount, and INR. And let's put everything as text. And we are going to make it as a single row collection, so that single row collection. And so you have to click it here to make it a single row, so that it can contain only one row at any particular point of time. Single row collection. Why I make it a single row collection? Because if you do not make it a single row collection, what happens is remove the row, for example. Okay, and let's double click this. In the initial value it will not have any row here. Okay, it will not have any row here. So what you can also do is you can somehow get a collection and use a collection manipulation, or collection and add row. You have to do this add row or something like that. But if you do a single row collection, see, initially there is no value here, right? If you do a single row collection, then it will add an empty row for you. Okay, this is something the single row collection helps you with. So you don't have to deal with add a new row to a collection, then take the data and everything. So this is what the single row collection will do. Okay, so let's see what exactly we are trying to do here. So here what I will do is from the currency collection that I have, one at a time I'm going to pick up the data from here. So the currency collection, I will put one data at a time, and I will just execute it. This I am doing just to implement the tag feature. Okay, because it is taking at a whole level. So here I will use the currency collection. How will I use it? I have to make it unhide from other pages, so that I can use this hide from other pages in the process. I am unchecking this so that I can use this in other pages. And I'll just drag and drop a loop stage. And here it should show me the currency collection, okay? Because this is something that I have done, the unhide features. And what we are going to do is we are going to use a multi-calculation stage here. And here we are going to add 4 rows. And in the first row, from the currency dot S number, I'm going to store it in single collection dot S number. Okay. So what I'm doing is that from that collection, I am picking, all the data, and one at a time, I'm transferring that to the single row collection. And single row collection, I'll add it to the queue so that I'll have that particular tag in place, not same tag for everyone. I'm doing all this, all this difficulty. I'm just taking only to put the correct tag in the each of the row. Okay, nothing else. Add 4 rows and amount INR and then currency. I'm not sure if you people are, getting whatever I'm doing here. Maybe let's complete this flow, and I'll just go through that again, and you'll be able to understand what exactly is happening. So even if you are not creating a second page, it is fine, but it will make the whole workflow very it will not look good and it will be large. So that is the reason I just shifted it here. Now what we are going to do, we are going to add to the queue action. So we are again going to run this with this and without this page, and we'll see what exactly what difference it made. Work queue and add to the queue. What is the queue name? Queue name is the June queue, I guess. So make sure the queue name remains the same, otherwise you are going to get some error. Data we are getting from the single row collection now, not from anywhere else. So one row at a time we'll get, and the tag is the one that we have implemented everything. Single row collection dot currency is the tag that we are going to use. Okay, so that's it. This is the only purpose that we did this. I am going to loop through this, like connect everything and reset, and I can now go on and change this to this particular add to queue stage to the add to queue page. Okay, so now why we went through that? Because till now all the because we have implemented the tag feature, all the tags were were getting the same value, all the USD value. Why? Because that currency collection had 4 rows in total, and the first row value was USD only, and we did not have a row wise filtration like which tag should be which one. So Blue Prism was taking the first row as the tag only. So to facilitate that, to get all the tags as an individual, because in tag we are getting the from currency value as tag, we are using that. What we are doing is we have created another page. In this page we are looping through the currency collection, which contains 4 rows. This is coming from the Excel sheet, right? That 4 rows, what it is doing, one at a time it is processing. So for example, here what we are doing, from the currency collection, I am copying every data to a single row collection. So first row got copied to single row collection, and which is the first row? This is the first row, right? And then adding to the queue. Now I am adding the single row collection to the queue, and the tag is single row dot currency. So what is happening? This row is getting added to the queue, and then USD is the tag, right? And now the loop continues. The loop came to the second row, and what happened? The second row from the currency collection got copied to the single row collection here, and then the same way I am adding it to the queue, and I am using the tag for the second row now. So this single row collection now contains the one row only, and that is the second row. Now the tag will be GBP, and this way it will go to the third row where the tag will be EUR because it has the third row only, and the fourth row where the tag will be USD. This is the way we can provide each of the currency name as one tag when we do a row wise collection addition. Okay, this is the reason we have done this, so that we could have
Yeah. So sorry, Prem. So I know you got that collection into a single row collection, and then you added that to I mean, from multicalc you are getting that into a queue. Now how are you getting one row each? That part I missed a little bit.
Okay.
On the tag feature.
Okay, so what is happening is, this is the first thing is that this is going in a loop. Okay, so what is happening is the currency collection is going in a loop. Okay, so what will happen, so how a loop work is, it will take the first row of the currency collection, right? In a currency collection there are 4 rows. You understand that, right?
Correct, yes.
So when we are putting in a loop, it will execute one at a time. So first row of the currency collection it took, okay, and then in the multi calculation currency collection, what value is has now only one row of the first row. The first row got copied to the single row collection. So single row collection contains the first row now, first row from the currency collection. That particular row is being added to the queue. You got it?
Yeah.
Now the loop ends, it goes here. Now it is getting the second row. What is the collection? Currency collection. It is getting the second row. Now using this stage, we are copying all the second row data from currency collection to single row collection. So single row collection now contains the second row of currency collection, and it is adding that to the queue again.
Okay.
You got the point?
Yeah.
That way it is adding all the 4 rows.
No, it's adding the 4 rows, I understood, but how is it going to now identify the tag?
Okay. Let's do one thing. Let's execute this one at a time so that you'll be able to understand. So what I'm doing is I'm going to okay. So first, before there was add to queue, so I'm going to remove this and I'm going to use a page so that you'll be able to understand. Create a reference, then add to the queue. This is the page we are going to link to. And this one here, I'm going to just disconnect it and this and move it here, add to the queue like this. Okay, let it float for now. Obviously, we are going to get one error that this is not connected, missing link from here. That is fine. Let's run this and we'll see, how exactly it is happening. So what I will do is, till this point, add to queue. Let me remove the breakpoint from here. Let's put a breakpoint here, okay, so that it stops here. And reset and launch it. Okay, so now let's go to the queue. Nothing is there in the queue. The queue is completely empty because we have not added anything to the queue. Okay, now let's see how it is going to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step into this page. Okay, step into this page came. Now understand how the flow of execution happens. Okay, now in the main page we know that the currency collection has 4 rows. It's populated with 4 rows. Oh, where are the 4 rows? It is not showing the 4 rows. Okay, Ashok joined the meeting. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, so anyway, the currency has 4 rows now. Which 4 rows? The 4 rows from the Excel sheet. All the 4 rows it has. Okay. Now we will just step into and loop start. Loop start happened, and now in the loop start we are getting the currency collection, and in the multi calculation, everything should be copied to the serial number. Now it has no rows. It has 0 rows. It has like empty rows. Now let's step again and again. Now let's go back here and check the current value. You see here, 1 USD and 50 came here. Where it is coming from? It is coming from the first row of the currency collection, which is, in turn again coming from the Excel sheet. That is a different story. Till this point, you are able to understand, Arun?
Yes.
Okay. So what is happening? Add to the queue, first row, should be added. Now let's go back to the queue, refresh. There are no rows here. Why? Because this stage is not executed yet. Now I'm going to pass over this stage now. Step in. Now let's go back and refresh. You see here, the first row got added here. You able to understand? Arun?
Yes, Prem. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. And the tag is USD. Why it is USD? Because in the tag we are using serial number collection dot currency. And if I go to the serial number collection dot currency, what is there? Serial number collection dot currency. I have USD. This is I am using as tag. That is the reason USD came as tag. Now I am going to step into again. Now what is happening? The second row is being picked up, right? And step again. Now let's go back to the serial row collection. What are the value? Second row is picked up from the collection, serial number 2, and the currency is GBP. Now if I step over, it should add the second row to the queue. Step over, like this is step into, I'm sorry. Now let's go back to the currency, the queue. Now the second row got added and the tag is GBP. Why it is GBP? This you have already seen, because this value is GBP. This is the reason we are doing like this, because we should be able to pick up tag, row wise. Previously what was happening, we were picking up currency as tag, so it was picking up first value only. Because now we are adding one at a time, and that particular currency is updated every time it runs, once at a time, because it is a single row collection. It is able to add all this perfectly fine.
Understood.
This is the okay. So others, any doubts here? I'm going to execute the next 2 rows, because we have 4 rows total in the Excel sheet and also in the currency collection. So I'm going to execute that. So obviously the same data will come here as 3 and 4. Let me know, if you are able to understand why we did this add to queue page, why we did not rely upon the action stage and instead we added a page here. Why we did that? We did that only to facilitate this tag, unique tags in each of the row. Any doubts here? Others in the call, please let me know. Okay. So, okay then. So what we can do is that I can just run it from here instead of stepping again and again, so that it gets added perfectly. It goes back to the next item, and it is adding fine. Okay, it will add fine. There is no need for that. We're not going to run this again. We'll just I'll just pause it. Okay, I'll just pause it and let's go back and refresh this. And as you can see here, everything, this picked up the first item, so it is locked. And anyway, I got all the tags: USD, EUR, GBP. There are 2 USD, so that is the reason it came to USD here. And everything we got as expected. Now, what shall we do with this? Now we got the tag, but what is the use of this tag? Okay, so let's see what exactly we can do with this tag, how we can filter and all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this and just reset, like delete this, so that unlock and delete this as well. So whenever you are practicing WorkQ, make sure that sometimes whatever you are doing, it may not directly reflect in the Blue Prism tool. So sometimes it takes some time. So if it is something happening that you have 100% changed something, it is still not reflecting, just save and close it and just reopen. It will show for you. Okay, I'm just saying that it is not happening for me right now. I'm just saying that happens sometime. Okay. Anyway, now that we have implemented the tag feature, let's see how we can implement it, how we can filter based on the tag. So what I will do, in the get next item, we have something called tag filter, right? In the add to queue, okay, this is the page here. In the add to queue here, we have added the tags. Here we have added the tags, and we want to filter based on the tag, right? So how to do that? Let's see. So what I want is, for example, in my Excel sheet, I only want all the value which has a tag of USD. Previously, I was saying you right that if you have nature as a tag, you will get all those photos which has nature as a tag. Okay, like that. I want only to execute the row which has a tag of USD. Okay, nothing else. So what I will do is that I will filter based on tag, right? So what I will do, in the tag filter, I'll put a double quotes and then plus USD. So it will get all the data as which is tagged as USD only. Suppose I want all the data which does not have USD. Apart from USD, give me all the data. What you will do? Instead of plus, put minus. Minus USD will give you all the rows which does not have a tag called USD. Right? It will process that. Suppose I want both USD and GBP. What I will do? I want to get all the data of USD and GBP plus USD, then a semicolon, and then plus GBP. It will give you all the tags where USD and GBP are there. Something like that. If you want to exclude multiple, you need to do minus like this, minus USD colon GBP. Understood? This is the way you'll be able to tag, filter it. So let's take the USD now for this example. We are going to take only USD data. So click OK here, reset, and then we are going to run this and let's see what is happening. I'm going to remove this one. And I'm going to put a breakpoint here so that I'll be able to make you understand about that. So just little bit increase the speed of this operation. Hopefully nothing was there in the work queue. Okay, it is adding one at a time, I guess. Okay, that is just completed. Let's go back and refresh the queue. We got the 4 items. So now we have set only USD to be picked up, right? Let's see what is happening. So run this. Okay, so it picked the first data. Let's see. Let's go back and refresh. It took the first data, which is USD. Ideally, it should take the next row, which is 2, which is GBP. Let's see what is happening now. Okay, item key 2 is being picked up or not. So if I run this now. Okay, it reached the breakpoint. Let's reset it now. As you can see, it did not pick the GBP, but it took the 4th one, which is USD. The 2nd and 3rd, it skipped. Why? Because we are only taking based on the filter, the USD filter. Okay. Now if I run this, it will not pick the rest of the item because this do not have a tag of USD. So now let's run this. As you can see, it went to write to the Excel sheet. It did not want to execute the rest of the record because they do not have a tag of USD and they are simply put as in pending status. Any doubts here, guys? Please let me know. Are you able to understand the tag concept here? The tag filter that we are doing? Or any doubt you have?
Yes, Prem, it was fine.
Okay. Okay, fine. So this is all about this is the way the tagging works, okay, and what
So,
else?
Prem, you had put plus USD, right? So that's the reason.
Plus USD.
Okay, right.
Yeah, plus USD to if I want not to include USD, I'll put minus USD so that it will take UR and GBP. Okay. So the tag is a very if you want to like filter sometime based on the tags and all, you can use that. It's a very useful feature. And apart from that, we are going to talk about one more feature, which is called the retry one. I should have talked this when I showed you the mark as exception, but it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this, here, and I'm going to like delete it completely. I hope you are on track whatever I am explaining here, and if not, then please practice this whenever you are getting some time. So I'm uploading everything to the Google Drive, so you should be able to directly import it and start executing whatever I'm doing. Instead of developing this from scratch, if you want to understand only the work queue concept, then you can directly import and start practicing this. Okay. One more thing. We have talked about the mark exception where it fails, right? When it fails. So can we reattempt to check that Blue Prism should try it once again? If it is failing, let's see if we can try it once again automatically to check if Blue Prism reattempts to run that, and it tries to see that if it is successful in the second attempt or not. So there is something called a retry. Okay, there is something called as a retry, and okay, so let me check where that retry option is there. Add to queue. Okay, it should be in the exception only because, yeah. So here we have a retry option. So what we are doing here is, in the mark as exception, when we are marking as exception, we are telling Blue Prism is okay, it is marked as exception, but can you go ahead and retry once again if it is fine now? And if it is fine now, put that, process that and mark now that as completed. So it says that whether or not to retry the item up to the maximum number of attempts specified for the queue, optional. If not specified, the item will be retired. So it is telling that, can you retry on my behalf if okay, there are a few people joining from some other batch or something, not sure. Ashok, you are in the call. I'm not sure. People just join 1 hour before. I'm not sure why. They are in some other time zone or something. So this is let's see if we can retry. And to do that, we have to go back to the system tab, to the work queue, and here we have something called as maximum attempts. So how many times you want to retry if something is failing? Are you allowing Blue Prism to trying it again, just to check that it will be succeed this time? Is there a chance like that? Then you can set it here. So for example, let's put maximum attempts as 3. So if something is failing, I want Blue Prism to try it once again for me for the second time. Again, if it is failing, I want it to try it again for the third time. if it is failing for the third time also, which is my maximum attempt, I'm going to, just put this as mark as exception. Okay, there is no hope from that, and we are going to finally put it as exception. Okay, but I'm going to retry if it is failing. Let's see how that happens. So I'm putting maximum attempt size 3. That's it. There is no other change here. Whatever you put, it will reflect there only. Okay, so just make sure the changes are fine here. The maximum attempts is 3, and now we are going to run it. Reset, and then we are going to run this. Okay, I got the last item. Now I'm going to the work queue, control tab, then June queue. The 4 got added, and the first attempt, everything is executing it for the first time. Okay, so this is the first attempt. So what should happen? It should be fine. Let me just run this. Right, it break the reach point up. It completed the first one. Fine. And if we refresh this, what happened? The first one got completed. Now we are going to manually create an exception for the second one. Okay, the second row we are going to manually create an exception. So the item key is did not come properly. Not sure why. Maybe in the Excel sheet we have some mistake. So let me do this once again. Okay, I'm just going to delete this, and let's delete this because you will not be able to understand. Maybe we have some mistake in the Excel sheet due to the previous run. So let me just check. So let me make it correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let me delete this. This is because the 2 USD got executed, so I got this value EUR, and this one did not get. Oh, this is also changed, so I have to make it, for example, AUD. So AUD, USD, EUR, USD. This is what I am doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the tag one, filter tag, so that I'll be able to show you the reattempt properly. So let's go back, get next item. Let's remove this tag feature, reset, and then run this. So we are just seeing the reattempts now. Okay.
Frame superior. Then we need to remove the sr.currency also in add to queue page, right?
No, that should be fine. There is no need. That is just a serial number, right? That is nothing. That just this one just say identify 1, 2, 3, 4. Previously the data was only wrong in the Excel sheet, so that is the reason we were getting the wrong data. Anyway, so we are going to see if something is reattempt. So first loop we are going to run it correctly. Okay, let's go back to here, refresh. Okay, now refresh. So first one completed. Now see, what happens to the second row. So for the second row, what I will be doing, what I will do is that this one here, I'm going to navigate to a different page so that it creates an exception. So I'm going to a different page. So here I'm going to run that. So obviously here there are no amount, currency, from currency to currency. Obviously we are going to get an exception. So let's run this one at a time, step over, and then step over again. So it should take this path because it will throw an exception at this path. Okay, it took that path and step over again, then append rows to collection, get next item. We are at the breakpoint. Now let's see what is happening in the queue. Now the second item should get an exception, refresh. As you can see, the second item got an exception, that is fine, but it also added another time. The second row it added again for reattempt. It is telling Blue Prism that okay, I failed, but can you please reattempt and try it once again in case it succeeds. It is like that, okay? And the attempt number is 2 here, okay? So what is happening is it is adding a new row to the end of the Blue Prism queue, and it is telling Blue Prism that run it once again. Now if I go back and reset it now, for example, let's come back to the correct page and let's run this now. Okay, run it once again. Now the exception will not be there because we are at the correct page. Okay, now let's go back to the queue, refresh. You can see here in the second attempt, I was successful. You see the number of attempts, the attempt number is 2 here. So I could have done it once again because I have put the limit at 3 only. So it could have added another row here and it could have tried it again. If in the third attempt also it is not successful, then it will mark it as exception. This is the first attempt, this is the second attempt where it was successful. Okay, understood? Any doubts here in the attempts, how you will use work queue to make multiple attempts for unsuccessful ones? So for attempts, there is nothing you have to do. In the work queue settings only, just set maximum attempts as any value. It will do everything for you. You do not have to do anything. Okay, so if you obviously you can go ahead and like run this one. This will just run fine. Nothing specific here. Okay then guys, so that is all that I wanted to discuss today. So there is one more concept in work queue that is called priority. That is something we'll talk tomorrow, and then I will just show you some problems that how to set up a multi-bot architecture where multiple bots run at the same time, and what are the issue we faced while running multiple in a multi-bot architecture where multiple computers get connected and run. So I'm not going to show multiple computers, but I'm going to tell you how you can do that. And then I'm going to show you something called environment locking, where when 2 bots run simultaneously and they access the same resource, how the resource gets locked and how to get out of that and how to solve that concurrency issue. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Okay, so anything that you want to discuss before just wrapping up? Let me know. I'm going to obviously put this video, all this like process and everything in the Google Drive. Apart from that, if you want to discuss anything else.
Prem, one question. So we are expecting everything to be completed by 19th?
19th. Yeah, so I think from my side I should be able to complete by like 12th only. Okay, it may happen that I can, if it is possible, I will see, because so the stuff that is pending now are mostly also Java mainframe, and then so for that we are going to see one example only, and few here and there stuffs are there. So I think I should be able to wrap it, but by 12th I am planning to do that. And the next thing is that another instructor, he is again going to take some time to explain the real-time scenario and the Citrix automation part, and the certification discussion. Either I can just like help it out, or he also can just do the certification discussion. Okay, so yeah, so including all that, we should be able to wrap it everything by 19.
Okay, great. So I think instead of that instructor, you can itself do the certification discussion. I think that will be better. We can finish it off next week itself.
Yes, I can do that. But the thing is that that instructor is also, the professional developer certification he has done. I'm not sure he has done or something he was telling. So I was thinking he can do more help compared to me. But I have some handwritten note and everything. I'm just going to provide you that. Surely I'll just tell you, from which module, what questions you will get in the certification. I'll just definitely go through that. And if he has some more resource which can help you, or some certification dumps he have, he can definitely send it to you guys. Okay. Okay. Jitu, you're telling something?
Yeah, can you sit on my virtual machine thing?
That is not working.
So.
No.
No.
Okay, fine then. So, okay guys, thanks everyone. Others, you do not want to discuss anything, then thanks a lot. If you want to discuss anything, let me know now, because we are just going to disconnect from here. Okay, Supriya, bye, take care. So, okay then guys, thanks. Let's see you tomorrow. And Jitu, let's do one thing. Let's do it in 10 minutes at 11. Just switch on your team viewer, and I'm just getting connected at around in 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay, no, thank you.
Okay, ping me your like that password. That password changes every time. So ping. Yeah. Okay.
I'll do that.